Nobody wants to be a Jerry. Everybody wants to be a Rick or a Beth.
It's just masturbation.
Hell, the way that Morty's shaped up over the years, people even want to be Morty. And I can't really blame them on that. But no one ever wants to admit that they're like Jerry. Or really, to tell you the truth, that they are a Jerry. But to keep it a stack, we're all Jerry in some way. Mundane, flawed, painfully average. If you sit down and think about it, it fucking stings, don't it? You know, on a side note too, before I start this video, it's very funny in the simple fact that Jerry is also voiced by the same guy that does Cyril on Archer, and they're both like these Weenie Hut Jr. ass guys. They really know the archetype of the Weenie Hut Jr. You know, sounding nasally, weak, and pathetic.
I hate you so much.
I've only got the nasally part, but nothing against the voice actor though. It's just funny that these two weenies are voiced by the same person. But when you really think about it, Jerry Smith from Rick and Morty isn't really just the show's punching bag in and of itself, or in and of himself. He's really a mirror, like a reflection of the parts of ourselves we'd rather ignore. The insecurity, the need for validation, the fear of being irrelevant, but there's more to Jerry than just being pathetic.
What?
In fact, understanding Jerry might really help us think about ourselves. Jerry's mundane life really represents the ordinary. Think about it. A dead-end job, a failing marriage, kids that don't respect him, his father-in-law thinks, according to Rick's standards, mathematically knows that Jerry is worthless. I mean, this man just oozes pathetic. Like, imagine opting to be cucked by your wife's clone, whichever one that is. So it's like watching your wife rub one out, which I guess is fine.
I like it, and if she likes it, I permit it.
You little pervert.
You like a little pervert.
I like humiliating a little pervert.
I approve. Carry on.
I'm freaked out by how hot this is.
It's just masturbation.
But bro is just there half the time. He's a seat filler. He's a background character that just so happens to have a seat at the table. It even seems like that existential crisis robot whose only job is to pass butter has more meaning to its life rather than Jerry. To me, personally at least, he's the embodiment of the fear that life might just be, well, this.
Yes, dear.
I know there's a good amount of you that probably dread the idea that your peak is behind you, and this is as high as it gets. All of your childhood hopes and dreams, like I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a Supreme Court justice, I want to be a movie star, I want to be whatever. Which honestly, everybody wants to be a YouTuber now or an influencer. I mean, I can't say anything, all things considered. But there's so many examples of Jerry living this very situation. Remember when Jerry got fired from his advertising job and he tried to convince himself that it was a fresh start? You can't see this, but I'm using air quotes. But that hollow optimism really hits different when you're consistently hit, or matter of fact, relentlessly hit with setback after setback in your own life. And my man is obviously flawed to the core. Like, Jerry's insecurities drive his worst decisions. He's jealous, he's needy, he's passive aggressive, and don't tell me for a second that none of you have ever had any of these qualities. And I'll even grant you a handicap. They may not be as exaggerated because, let's be real, it's a show, it's supposed to be entertaining, so you have to exaggerate things just a little bit, but the core feelings, they're universal. Even in the older episodes, like Me Seeks and Destroyed, Jerry's stubborn refusal to try and improve his golf game, even with literal magic help, like, it just spirals into chaos. Like, bro was constantly ready to give up. He was weighed down by constant self-doubt and lack of self-esteem, which, of course, I bet his family doesn't help with at all. And it's obvious a lot of families are just like this. One of the scarier things to me is the illusion of control that he has. Jerry, in his own pathetic way, desperately clings to control in a universe that really just mocks his efforts. In a sense, it's almost like Rick, who literally in some seasons has complete mastery of the universe, and in other seasons, just so he's not a boring god who can't be stopped, has been nerfed here and there to make his godhood reachable. Pause. But this resonates personally with me because life just feels uncontrollable, and I know you all can relate to that. You're kind of just here, and there's only so much your bobble-headed ass can do. And if you can do anything, it really just depends on probability. Depends on how, when, and where you were born and what you end up as. Now, there's always a chance you can end up being something that's very influential, but there's an even bigger chance that you'll probably just end up as Jerry. Though I could say in a sense, considering the fact that I'm talking about him right now, there's a level of influence to Jerry. But whether it be like Rick if you reach those higher highs, or if you are usual Jerry when you are at those lower lows, we all pretend like we're steering the ship when really we're just paddling in a storm. And honestly, not even just a storm. A lot of the times it's a hurricane, and much like Florida and what it's becoming as time goes on, nobody wants to insure you. You're on your own, buddy. It's kind of whack.
Say goodbye to your precious dry land.
There's also a fear of irrelevance, a fear of being worthless, a fear of not mattering, like just meaninglessness. Jerry, as you see him throughout the show, is constantly overshadowed by Beth, by Rick, and even Morty. and especially Morty as time goes on. And though some people really don't mind that, a lot of people do mind that. A lot of people feel invisible and it's miserable. And the Smith family in general, of course, they're, or at least to me, they're vessels of the viewer in my eyes. Jerry to me just happens to be the vessel of pathetic, the vessel of mediocrity, the vessel of it is what it is. And as much as I hate the term it is what it is, there's a reason that that term gets used so often by so many people. Jerry to me is the vessel that no one sees us, that we're replaceable, that we don't matter for shit. Social media amplifies this and makes us crave likes and shares and any sign that our existence means something, that you should pay attention to me, that I'm not worthless. That person that rejected me, it's actually them that fucked up, and it's not just the fact that I'm fucked up or I was born fucked up. And it tends to make him jealous. Like there's episodes that highlight the fact that Jerry gets very jealous. A lot of you, well, a lot of us have to deal with this deep-seated fear of just being unimportant. What a sad, meaningless existence, huh? Don't you think? Well, I think it's always rough to see it that way, but glass half full. We're doing glass half empty. Let's switch to glass half full. There is a level of relatable redemption in this. Like despite everything, despite all the shortcomings, all the failure, all the lame, all the pathetic, you gotta give it to the man. He keeps going. Like he loves his family, even if he's terrible at it, even if he's terrible at showing it. He tries, fails, he tries again. That's gotta count for something.
Why, Jerry? Why expend the effort?
Life is effort and I'll stop when I die.
You can roast him, you can cook him, you can saute him, you can burn him, but the man keeps going. I guess at the same time, considering if you believe that he's mud, like he's just that beneath you, I mean, what else can you do to mud? You can't stomp it any further than what it already is. It's already mud. And look, we like to laugh at Jerry because it's easier than admitting that we're like him. But unfortunately, a lot of us are like him. Matter of fact, I would dare say the vast majority, even the wealthiest people on earth are just like Jerry. A lot of them, just to keep it a buck with you all, we're just lucky because there's millions, literally millions of people who have worked and bust their ass and not have made it to anywhere near the heights that those people have made it to. And a lot of them, the only reason they even made it there in the first place is because they were born into a situation that even allowed them to have the stuff to actually get there in the first place. Because you mean to tell me that an oil rig worker doesn't bust their ass, that somebody that picks up sanitation and picks up trash and filth doesn't bust their ass? A teacher, a nurse, fast food workers, first responders, construction workers, so on and so forth, pretty much anyone in the service industry. Well, I won't say pretty much anyone, but you know what I mean. Doesn't bust their ass. It's just par for the course. But I honestly feel like you should embrace your inner Jerry. I really do. Like it's a step towards self-awareness. We all fear to be irrelevant. We want and crave and we're starved for validation. We want people to just like, hey, you matter. So I'm going to listen to you. Whatever dumb things you have to say, I'm going to listen to you. And that includes me. It feels good. And just like your parents, as you get older, you tend to find out like we're all just stumbling through life trying to pretend that we all have it together. When really, in fact, we all know the answer to this. And you know what's fucked up too? One of the few times that Jerry is actually a badass, he dies for it. Oh, also spoiler, he dies for it. And it's also kind of shitty, but I guess an Armageddon will do that to you. And even if you find yourself in that Jerry territory, it's not all bad. You can't control the universe, but you can kind of control how you react to the universe. And when you think about what makes Jerry, well, Jerry, it can help you rethink about things and how to plan around yourself. Maybe you want to prove that you aren't a Jerry. Strive for something more. Shit, fuck, you can do it. Only one way to find out. Or you can just chill as Jerry. It's your life. You do what you want with it. Do what feels right. Just try to put some thought into it. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hit the like button, subscribe, do all those other things that people ask you to do in a video. Also, if you want to send me any ideas for anything, feel free to hit the Cash App button. I will take your request and let's see what we can do with it. Patreon definitely helps. Super thanks also helps too. You know, all the thanks, all the buttons. Hit all the buttons. Just take a tour of all the buttons. All right, I'm out of here.